He was never meant to be more than a footnote, a villain, a detour in someone else's story. They gave him horns and called him a liar. They branded him with chaos and never looked back. But somewhere beneath the tricks and betrayal, there was a boy reaching for something real. A boy who wanted to be chosen, to be seen, to be more than the shadow of a brother who always seemed to glow brighter. He laughed because the silence hurt too much. He schemed because hope had let him down too many times. And when the world offered him power, he took it. Not because he craved it, but because it was the only thing that ever listened. But even gods break. Even illusions crack when held too tightly. And when the multiverse cracked open, so did he, piece by piece, memory by memory. He was forced to confront the truth he had buried under charm and ego, that no crown could fill the void he carried. No throne could give him the love he was always chasing. So he stopped running, he let go, he shed the armor, the tricks, the lies, and stood alone before the end of everything. Not with fear, but with resolve. Because for the first time, he saw who he truly was, and it wasn't a villain. What he chose wasn't glory, wasn't revenge, wasn't even survival. It was something quieter, something heavier, something sacred, to hold the branches, to carry the weight, to give meaning to all the chaos that shaped him. And he did it without asking to be remembered. In this video, we're going to break down how Loki's story was never about ruling or redemption. It was about identity, about finding worth in stillness instead of spectacle, and how in the end, the god of mischief became the soul of the multiverse, not through conquest, but through purpose. Loki's story didn't start with grand purpose or hidden destiny. It started with envy, with mischief, with the shadow of a brother who seemed to shine brighter in every room. And yet, even from the very beginning, something about him felt different, not weaker, just misaligned. He was born of frost, but raised among gods, a prince who never quite belonged anywhere, yet learned to wear masks better than anyone else. Every smirk, every quip, every betrayal was armor, not to destroy others, but to protect something fragile deep inside. We were told he was a villain, but the more we watched, the more the cracks showed, a hesitation in his voice, a glimmer of pain behind the schemes, like he was trying to be the monster the world expected, just to feel like he had a role in the story at all. Then came the TVA, a place that didn't care about gods or titles, a place where the timeline ruled all. And suddenly, Loki wasn't even a threat anymore. He was a variable, a mistake, a thing to be managed, not feared. And in that powerlessness, something started to shift. He could have crumbled, could have escaped, could have run back to the chaos he knew so well. But instead, he paused, looked inward, and asked the one question he had never truly faced. What am I really meant to be? Loki was never given a real chance. Every time he tried to carve out a place for himself, someone pushed him back into a corner. He wasn't trusted, wasn't believed, wasn't loved without condition. And it shows. In how quickly he lashes out. In how deeply he clings to control. Thor got to stumble and still be called worthy. Loki stumbled once and was branded broken. The expectations around him were never fair, never forgiving. Even when he tried to help, his past haunted every gesture. Every word he spoke was heard through a filter of doubt. And the TVA didn't make that easier. They didn't see his growth, his pain, or his history. They saw a file, a variant, a glitch to be erased. Loki had to fight just to be seen as more than a mistake. That kind of dismissal cuts deeper than any blade. He had to unlearn survival, had to stop measuring his worth by how clever his lies were. That's not a quick fix. That's a war against yourself. And the truth is, he shouldn't have had to fight it alone, but he did, because no one else believed he could be more than chaos. It's frustrating, watching someone with so much heart be treated like a burden, watching him fight for a sliver of grace that others are handed freely, and still, even through all of that, he kept going. There's a quiet sadness in Loki's journey that you feel more than see. It's in the moments between dialogue, in the way his voice softens when he speaks about love, about loss, about being alone. He jokes because it's safer than honesty, but sometimes the mask slips. Sylvie cracks something open in him, not because of romance, but because she mirrored everything he had buried. She was angry, scared, vengeful, and yet she still reached for something better. Watching her struggle forced him to confront his own reflection. But love doesn't always come with healing. Sometimes it shatters you more than it saves you. And when Sylvie made her choice, when she pushed him away, you could see that old wound tear wide open again. That fear of being unwanted, unchosen, forgotten. And yet, this time, he didn't run. He didn't scream or scheme or break everything in reach. He just stood there, hurt, silent, accepting. Because maybe for the first time, he realized that pain didn't define him. It just revealed him. There's something devastating about that level of growth. About watching someone earn peace through pain. And knowing that even when the world turns away, they still choose to stand tall, even if they're standing alone. There's a moment in Loki's arc when the mischief fades, and something bigger takes its place. A kind of grace, a kind of stillness, as if he finally sees the full shape of who he's become and what he's willing to protect. He becomes the one holding the branches, the one anchoring time itself, not for recognition, not for applause, but because someone had to. And for the first time, Loki didn't want to escape the weight. He wanted to carry it. The throne he takes isn't gold or glorious. It's lonely, eternal, mythic. And yet it suits him, not as punishment, but as purpose. Every flicker of green around him feels earned, not conjured, but chosen. He became what no one believed he could. The guardian. The center. The spine of a universe constantly falling apart. Not by force, but by choice. And that transformation is breathtaking. Not just because of what it means for the multiverse, but for the man himself. Because in a world that once called him a villain, Loki found something greater than revenge or power. He found something worth sacrificing for, something no trick could fake, something real. Loki didn't need to rewrite who he was to become a hero. He just needed to remember why he mattered, not because of his magic, not because of his cleverness, but because deep down, he always had a heart willing to fight for more. His journey reminds us that identity isn't fixed, that no matter how many times you fall, you can still rise differently. That redemption isn't about erasing the past, but choosing how you move forward. One moment, one choice, one heartbeat at a time. He found connection where there was once only isolation, found meaning where there was once only mischief, and in doing so, he gave us all permission to evolve, to question who we've been, and who we still could be. The multiverse didn't just need a god. It needed someone who understood chaos and still chose order, who knew pain and still chose peace. That balance, that duality. That's what made Loki the only one who could ever sit on that throne. And maybe, just maybe, that means there's hope for the rest of us too. That no matter how lost we feel, purpose might still be waiting. If we're willing to look for it. Loki didn't win. He didn't conquer. He didn't even get to return to the life he once knew. What he found wasn't glory, but something far more rare. He found meaning in the silence, strength in surrender, beauty in the burden. He was the god of mischief, yet he ended as the god of sacrifice, of stillness, of holding the universe together by sheer will. It's not the ending anyone predicted, but maybe it's the one he always deserved. Because deep down, Loki was never just trying to rule. He was trying to belong, trying to matter, trying to be seen beyond the chaos he carried. And in the end, by choosing to hold the branches of time, he became the thing no one thought he could be. He became essential, not for what he could destroy, but for what he was willing to preserve. That kind of transformation isn't just rare, it's sacred, and it came not from fate, but from choice. Loki didn't find glory, he found purpose, and in doing so, he didn't just save the multiverse, he saved himself. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video, blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows, and Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.